Hello YouTube, welcome back to another video. As you can see, my beautiful cousin has returned to my channel. So today we are going to be doing an interview again. So this one's going to be a little bit more structured than the last time that we were on camera together. I keep watching those and I'm just like, we won. We didn't know what we were talking about very much.
Just trying to know what the flow.
And honestly, I was focused on the food so much. Like, I was trying to pretend that I wasn't hungry.
So good though.
But yes, now we are back. We are doing another video. This one, we do not have food, but we have some good questions to talk about. This is gonna be super fun. This one is, as you can tell by the title, it is based on relationship deal breakers. This is among your friends, love interest relationships, and family. So we're just going to be talking about general relationships and just breaking them down, seeing what's like common and what misconceptions people have, and just, you know, diving into those things. So here is the first question. So which type of relationships have you had the most difficulty maintaining? From friends, lovers, family, all, you know.
Okay. Out of those three, I would definitely say that I struggle to maintain my relationships with love interests. I feel like
knowing her relationships,
personally hearing the stories,
hearing what has been happening over the last couple of years, I knew this was going to be the answer. So yes, why lovers? Why are those the most difficult to maintain?
Well, one, I would say my expectation of the men that I seek and their expectation of me is totally different. Like,
absolutely.
I feel like the bar that I have set is low for me,
mm-hmm.
and it shouldn't be. I think, like, you know, I'm capable of so much more.
And unfortunately, I think the reason that the expectation for you is so low is because you are actually intelligent enough to know that that is what is common. Like, you've already got it all figured out, so you're just trying to choose the best one. But then they all end up doing the exact same things based on the same insecurities, which actually goes into the next question. What contributed to the decline of these relationships, and were there any early warning signs or any traits, habits that you've noticed?
One thing that I definitely think that I seek out, well, not necessarily seek out, but it's a bad habit for me, is involving myself with men that make excuses for being distant or just inconsistent. And like,
yeah,
I don't know, I just feel like it's a bad cycle to get into.
Right. And the thing, men are kind of aware that they can get away with those things.
Oh,
because
fully aware.
Right, yeah, like that's the joke right there, is that they know that they can
the whole time.
Right, because women are always running to make up for the
damage.
Like, the anything that a man is lacking, that's what they feel like they're supposed to provide, which allows men to stop their development. Right, like as soon as they see their victory, men are far more narcissistic than women typically.
And
so
they
like
need 10 times more reassurance.
Absolutely.
Like, men are very insecure.
Very insecure. And that insecurity always manifests itself as entitlement, because they literally think of them so little that they deserve everything. They victimize themselves so hard that they think that everybody needs to do stuff for them. What responsibility do you take away from the discontinued or endangered relationships that you've been through? And like, what could you have done? What did you notice? And things like that.
One thing that I do think that I need to work on is being a better communicator, because I have no problem expressing how I feel to friends and family, but when it comes to people that I just have interest in, it is so hard for me to break down that wall. I don't know why.
And you know what? It's the very fact that you know that they're seeking that vulnerability too. It's like, it's almost a battle. It's like, okay, well, who's going to be vulnerable first? Yeah. It's like, if you say it first, then I'll say it. But like, I'm not about to just like, right. So it always becomes a battle because this is the person that you trust the least now.
Right.
Because you already have strong connections in your family. You already have strong connections in your friends.
And also, I think men get scared because they know that I'm independent. So it's like, if they're opening up first, they're like, am I lesser of a man?
That is very true.
Expressing how I feel.
Right. And it's also from that, they're already expecting that your life is going well enough for you to be seeking them out.
Right.
So if you're not giving all of this attention and all of this stuff, like, they don't understand what's wrong. You know, like, when you meet a guy and you guys are cool and shit, like, they expect your life to become a single unit already, because men already think, like, what's best for me is finding somebody that I can marry. Like, that is ultimately, right, it is an end game thing. And so when they finally find one who meets all of the standards and shit, they want you to fall all the way head over heels, because those are the ultimate signs. That's when the romantic movie begins. It's like, oh, look, she's very beautiful and talented and smart and funny.
So let me limit her.
Right. So now all of that needs to be completely devoted to me now. And that's how I know it's real.
Such a poor mindset.
Like, what were you doing before?
Like, you don't realize we could be so much more together.
Like, for real, you are supposed to grow in a relationship. You are supposed to meet people where they're at. Just give the attention that they deserve. The communication will come and the relationship will grow, but you don't expect it to be at a place because you're okay with that place. Like,
it takes a toll on, like, your partner, because it's draining for them.
Absolutely. Living up to your expectations within such a short amount of time, you have no time for growth, and therefore your potential is, like, it's lessened because you didn't care as much. What do you hope to receive from the relationships moving forward?
I hope that I learn my worth and that I deserve more, and to finally stop looking for things like that, because, like,
I was just gonna say, I was like, okay, so you recognize the relationships that you seek out, so obviously not seeking those same relationships.
Simple solution, it really is. It's just a matter of doing it.
Right. And I think personally knowing you, that you know yourself very well, and you only limit yourself when you are seeking lesser relationships. You do it for the sake of the relationship, and it shows, like, in everything else that you do too, you know? Not targeting you, but just in general, like, when you limit yourself for the sake of other people, you will see the decline in the other things that you were giving the right amount of energy to. Those will have lesser quality because you're not distributing your energy properly anymore.
That is so true.
Yeah. It's really sad because, like, it'll be worth it for the time, and then that time was way shorter than you thought. It was way more energy than you thought you could give to somebody. And then you're just like, why was I so dedicated to that truth? Right. Like, right. I didn't have to put so much into making that real. It's just, it's a mindset. What are you doing now that will help you find what you're actually looking for in somebody?
I would say seeking out people with more of a growth mindset and less insecure, more sure of who they are, because I feel like the more in touch they are with themselves, the more that they'll want me to be also.
Right.
Because, you know, they won't feel insecure.
Right.
They'll be secure in themselves and in our relationship.
Right.
So I feel like seeking out people like that, and also relationships, that'll be a give and a take.
People who are secure in themselves will encourage you to grow individually too. Your individual growth journey will just be next to each other. It'll be juxtaposed. Y'all be growing parallel to each other by the same rate potentially. Like, your potential to grow will increase when you surround people with
each
like
other,
minds.
literally.
Exactly. So that's perfect.
People that are ready to invest in your happiness too, your future, whatever you want to do creatively.
Right.
That's important too, because the talking is nice, but what are you actually going to do?
People, even individuals, yourself, you will make thoughts and fears that will keep you from doing things in real life. And so adding other people to that mix is only going to make it more
worse.
complicated. Like if you
already feel
right,
a
like
little insecure.
if you are insecure, if you're confused, if you don't know what you are doing, adding someone else is not going to make the answer more clear. Like,
only gonna strengthen
right,
those insecurities and those fears.
Exactly.
Literally.
Like, and you have to recognize everybody is learning at a different rate. They're coming from different experiences. So where you end up meeting somebody, you have to be open-minded about where they're coming from, and then you have to meet them where they're at. Like, they don't know what you have been through. They don't know what you're willing to accept. You have to get to know people. Otherwise, the lack of communication comes from the fact that you don't trust them.
You feel like it's a good time to share those traumas or like let somebody learn you, because doing it too soon and too late could also hurt the relationship.
Right. Honestly, I feel like I'm only willing to share things with people when I have a pretty good idea of how they'll respond. Like, I
definitely
because
feel
the
because
ones
you want to be secure in their response,
right? Like, I trust you so much that I'm gonna tell you, and I'll deal with whatever you have to say after, because I trust you as a person.
And like, also, I know you'll tell me the truth in love.
Right,
like,
exactly.
You will be understanding.
And those times can also be the most hurtful ones, because when you actually trusted them, and it was a very bad response, and it was nothing like what you expected. It was actually worst case scenario, and it'll actually lead to much bigger traumas that will show up later on in your life. Like, those are the types of things.
It makes it harder because you carry those things into the next relationship.
Right, exactly. When you cannot let go of the traumas that have happened to you, and you cannot learn and cope and stuff, those things will linger until you address them. And they'll just recycle themselves. The Recycling Energies video explains it really well. It breaks it down and stuff, so go check that out. Right. Most of the stuff that I'm talking about is exactly the same information. So, yeah, so that was the interview. I'm so happy that we got to do this. Thank you again for being on the channel. And once again, this is my beautiful cousin, Brittany. And I hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, and subscribe, and I hope to see you next time. Bye.